My name is Elle Stone, and I suppose I should tell you about the day that changed everything for me. It was the day I finally understood what my family really thought of me, and the day I decided to take control of my own life. That day, the Chase Bank annual statement for 2025 came out. I was bustling around the kitchen with my mother, preparing our traditional Christmas dinner for the Park family gathering. We were making all the dishes that had been part of our holiday celebrations for as long as I could remember. When I stepped into the living room to grab some seasonings, I casually checked my annual spending summary on my phone. The key word that appeared was family focused. But the number below it pierced my heart like a dagger. 95% of my total annual spending had gone toward family expenses. I let out a heavy sigh, feeling the weight of that statistic settle on my shoulders. While my mother Susan was busy in the kitchen preparing the side dishes for our turkey, something compelled me to pick up her phone and take a peek. Her annual keyword read devoted. My heart warmed for a moment, thinking that perhaps my mother truly loved me after all. That warmth disappeared the instant I clicked on the details. Transfer payments made up 99% of her spending, and every single dollar had gone to my older brother, Lucas Park. I discovered that every month, within 5 minutes of my salary hitting my account on the 1st, she had been transferring it all to Lucas. The notes on each transfer told a story that broke my heart. Quietly setting this aside, don't let Elle see this. If it is not enough, I'll add more for you just then. A text message from Lucas popped up on the screen. Mom, did you transfer my sister's wedding money yet? You need to push her harder. Jessica and I are talking about getting married, and I don't even have a decent house. Her family is starting to have opinions about this whole situation. I looked down at the old jacket I was wearing. One I had been wearing for 3 years now, and tears began streaming down my face. Al, did you get those seasonings? I am waiting for them. My mother Susan Park called from the kitchen, her voice carrying a note of impatience. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Share your advice below and subscribe to see how my story continues. And then, I made a decision that changed everything. I forced myself to swallow my emotions, quickly wiped away my tears, and called back, coming right away, as if I had never seen it. By the time I finished covering my tracks, my mother had completed the side dishes and was arranging the appetizers I had spent the entire afternoon preparing. Her voice carried that familiar tone of instruction. Let these dishes sit for now. We'll wait until your father Donald and your brother Lucas arrive before we start eating. I had been working since early morning, shopping for ingredients at the grocery store, and then spending hours in the kitchen preparing this Christmas feast. My stomach was gnawing with hunger. Looking at the roasted potato salad on the table, I couldn't resist picking up a fork, hoping to taste just a small bite to tide me over. The moment my fork was about to touch the plate, my mother's hand came down hard on mine, and the fork clattered onto the table with a loud clang. Her face darkened instantly, and her voice was sharp with reproach. Elle, where are your manners? Your brother Lucas hasn't arrived yet. Who gave you permission to start eating? She pushed that plate of roasted potato salad toward the center of the table, positioning herself protectively in front of it. These dishes are all Lucas's favorites. He has been working hard all day, and when he comes home he needs to eat something good. What will he have? If you are hungry, just wait. When everyone's here, we'll eat together. Can't you wait a few more minutes? As his younger sister, you should always be considerate of your older brother. My heart grew colder with each word. Here I was, having worked all day to prepare this Christmas feast, so hungry I could barely think straight. And I was being scolded for wanting a single bite of food, all because it needed to be saved for Lucas. In her eyes, my hard work and my hunger meant nothing. Every morsel of food for Lucas was more important than I was. My mother picked up her phone from the coffee table and glanced at it. Something she saw made her expression tighten with anxiety. She quickly rearranged her features into a gentle smile and turned toward me, her voice taking on a probing tone. "Elle, honey, Lucas just sent me a message. He says Jessica wants him to buy a house before she'll agree to marry him. I was thinking, since you and John have been getting your wedding funds together, hasn't his family already prepared most of the money? I was wondering if you could let Lucas borrow your wedding fund for his emergency, and I promise you that Lucas will pay you back later." I stared at that plate of roasted potato salad that my mother was guarding so fiercely, then looked at her expectant expression. For the first time in my life, I didn't comply with her wishes. My voice was eerily calm as I said, "Mom, no, we don't have it yet. John's family says they need to wait a little longer. They're having some cash flow issues right now." "What?" My mother's hand froze as she was arranging the plates, her smile becoming rigid. I met her surprised gaze and continued, "Besides, the company hasn't been doing well lately. Everyone got pay cuts this month. When my salary came through, there wasn't much left after I paid next month's apartment rent and utilities. At the end of this month, I won't have any money to contribute to the family. And from what my supervisor has been saying, I'll probably lose my job altogether after the new year." I watched that familiar face, still harboring a foolish hope in my heart. I hoped she might ask if I had enough money to get by, or perhaps offer to help with next month's rent. Instead, her smile crumbled instantly and her voice became shrill. "Pay cuts, layoffs. How could they choose you? Didn't you always say your performance was the best? And what about the wedding fund? How can that be delayed now?" She slammed the plate she was holding onto the counter. "Then what about Lucas's situation? He is trying to marry Jessica and he doesn't even have a proper house. Her family has opinions about this. And I was counting on using your wedding money to help him with the down payment. You are falling through at a time like this. Are you trying to ruin Lucas's chances of getting married?" In that instant, I felt the sound of my heart breaking. I had just told her that I didn't have enough money to live on and that I might even lose my job. Her first reaction wasn't to care about me, but to worry about her precious son's marriage and his down payment. I lowered my head, tears welling up in my eyes, and a bitter smile curved my lips. So this was it. Whether I lived or died, they simply didn't care. In their hearts, I was nothing. That Christmas dinner was a joyless affair. Lucas called at the last minute to say he was spending Christmas Eve alone with Jessica and wouldn't be coming home. Throughout the meal, my mother subjected me to cold sarcasm, while my father Donald was even more direct, telling me to hurry up and push John for the wedding money and not to delay Lucas's wedding plans. The next day, unexpectedly, it was the second day of the Christmas holiday when my mother called me. Her tone was unusually gentle and strange. "Elle, honey, yesterday I had a bad attitude. I was too worried about Lucas's situation. You are flesh of my flesh. How could I not care about you? Tonight your father is making soup, and Lucas says he wants to apologize to you. Come home and let's have a family dinner together." This belated apology created a small crack in my hardened heart. I naively thought that she had finally realized how much she had hurt me. That evening, I opened the front door to find Lucas sitting on the sofa playing with his phone. He was wearing a complete Nike outfit with the latest Air Jordan sneakers on his feet, head to toe in designer brands. You couldn't tell he was an unemployed person who spent his days doing nothing. A bitter feeling rose in my chest. Just last month, I had transferred $3,000 to my mother, specifically asking her to buy herself a thick winter coat. But she had turned around and given the money to Lucas to waste, while she continued wearing last year's faded old down jacket. When Lucas saw me, he didn't even look up, casually saying, "Hey sister, you are back." My mother quickly came over, taking my hand and leading me toward the dining room. Come sit. The soup is all ready." At the dinner table, My mother pushed the freshly ladled chicken soup in front of Lucas and cut a full plate of turkey for him, while I had only a small bowl of vegetable salad in front of me. Before I had taken more than a few bites, Lucas put down his phone and sighed with exaggerated worry. "Oh, Jessica and I have been together for a while now, and I was hoping to settle down soon. But her parents are always worried. They say I don't even have a proper house, so I won't be able to provide security for her in the future, and they won't agree to let us get married quickly." As soon as he finished speaking, my mother immediately chimed in with a pleasing smile on her face. But her tone carried an undeniable certainty. "I know you've always been smart since you were little, and I don't believe for a second that you've really been turning over all your salary to the family. You've been working outside for so many years with such good performance. How could you not have saved any money for yourself? I know you've had pay cuts lately and haven't gotten the wedding money yet, but Lucas's marriage cannot fall through. Just take out the money you've saved and help Lucas with the house down payment first. Consider it a loan from your mother, and I'll definitely pay you back later." So yesterday's apology was just a setup to pressure me into producing this supposed personal savings. I laughed coldly inside. All these years I had turned over every cent of my salary to her without keeping a penny, not even buying myself a single new piece of clothing. Where would I have any personal savings? I didn't respond, but my gaze inadvertently fell on the coffee table. There sat a brand new BMW key fob with a very familiar logo. A terrible premonition rose in my heart. This car model looked exactly like the one Lucas had mentioned to my mother before, and the price was almost exactly the same as the $30,000 in year-end bonus I had just turned over to her last week. A horrifying thought formed in my mind. Had my mother taken my year-end bonus and bought Lucas this car? "Mom," I pointed at the car keys, my voice cold as frost. "What is the story with these car keys? Did you take my year-end bonus and use it to buy Lucas a car? That was money I was saving for myself." My mother's eyes immediately darted away in panic, her hand unconsciously moving toward the coffee table as she laughed nervously, trying to cover up. That is a car Lucas bought with his own savings. It has nothing to do with your money. Lucas needs a car to get around too, and as his younger sister you should be happy for him. His own savings." I looked directly at Lucas. His eyes flickered and he couldn't meet my gaze, instinctively looking away. Seeing that the deception couldn't continue, he simply threw caution to the wind and spoke with righteous indignation. "So what if I used your money? You make $5,000 a month. You can earn $30,000 back in a year. At worst, we can delay the wedding for another year. We're all family, why make such a big deal out of this? Besides, when I am doing well, it reflects well on you too. If you won't help me, who will? What is wrong with using some of your money? It is not like I won't pay you back. What is wrong with using some of my money? That was my year-end bonus that I had earned through a whole year of hard work, giving up all my rest time, networking and schmoozing until I developed stomach bleeding. From the very beginning, I had told them that this $30,000 was for my own wedding fund. Initially, they had forced me to turn over my monthly salary, claiming they were saving it as my future dowry. But when I was ready to get married, my parents demanded that John's family provide $80,000 as a wedding fund. When it came to my dowry, my parents told me that they had raised me and owed me nothing, so they wouldn't contribute a single penny to my wedding. Moreover, all the money I had contributed over the years was to be kept for Lucas. With no choice, I had postponed the wedding for a year. During that year, I worked desperately just to get this $30,000 year-end bonus as my dowry, so that John's family wouldn't look down on me. But they had taken my year-end bonus without a word and used it to buy Lucas a car. You are right, I am petty. I suddenly stood up, gripping the edge of the table with both hands. Since I am so petty, you don't need to eat this meal either. I used all my strength to flip over the entire round table. All the food on the table, along with the dishes and plates, crashed to the floor amid screams. Soup and sauce splattered everywhere, covering Lucas's Nike outfit with grease stains. "Ah, my clothes." Lucas screamed and jumped up, frantically patting at the oil stains on his clothing. "You've lost your mind. Are you trying to rebel?" My father Donald's face went white with rage as he pounded the table and roared. Standing in the midst of the wreckage, I pointed at the mess on the floor, my words falling like hammer blows. "And another thing, I am calling off this wedding. Don't expect a single penny of that $80,000 from John's family. Don't talk to me about how much you've done for me. I paid for college myself without a cent from you. And the minute I graduated, you took control of my bank card. I've made $60,000 a year for 5 years, totaling $300,000. Add in my $30,000 dowry, that is $330,000 total. I've more than repaid whatever you did for me and have even prepaid my support obligations. Starting today, none of you will get another penny from me." With that, I turned and stormed out of the house. Behind me, I left my father's angry shouting and my mother's pitiful crying. The New Year's bells rang out on schedule, and the streets were bustling with people celebrating the new year. Looking at the fireworks filling the sky, I couldn't help but cry. Just then my phone rang. I answered the call. "Elle, Happy New Year." Joan's slightly tired voice came through the phone. To apply for wedding leave, he was working alone in the office during the New Year holiday. My nose stung and my voice choked with emotion. "Joan, let's break up." The man's breathing hitched and he spoke carefully. "What is wrong, Elle? Did my mother say something to you again?" Tears spilled from my eyes. "Joan, it is not about your mother, it is me. I don't want to get married anymore, and don't worry about the wedding fund anymore. And don't get involved in my family's affairs. Elle, what is wrong? If there is a problem, tell me, and we'll solve it together." "Okay." I shook my head desperately. I knew too well what kind of people my parents and brother were. I couldn't drag John into this. "Joan, if you really love me, please respect my decision." With that, I quickly hung up the phone. I cried all the way back to my apartment. The next day, I went to the general manager's office with swollen red eyes. "Manager, I'd like to apply for a transfer to our Australia branch." The manager was stunned for a few seconds. "Elle, aren't you getting married soon?" I smiled bitterly. "Not anymore." The manager looked at me in surprise, wanting to say something but holding back. Finally, he just nodded. "All right, then you leave in 3 days." After leaving the office, I began processing my overseas paperwork. It wasn't until evening that I dragged my exhausted body back to my apartment. When I opened the door, I found a group of uninvited guests. "Who gave you permission to come to my home?" I glared darkly at the people on my sofa, my parents, Lucas, and a girl I didn't recognize who was dressed up extravagantly. "Oh, so you are Lucas's sister, my wealthy future sister-in-law." I looked at the arrogant girl with disgust and was about to throw them out when my mother grabbed my hand. "This is Jessica, the girlfriend Lucas finally managed to find." "Don't scare her away," my mother whispered in my ear. "Lucas's car was bought by RL. RL makes $5,000 a month, and when you marry Lucas later, she'll help support your little family." My usually stern father broke into an unprecedented, ingratiating smile. Jessica was absolutely delighted and tossed her hair. "One car is nothing, living expenses will be huge later. For me to marry into your Park family, I have several conditions." I suddenly understood why they didn't want me to get married. It was all so I could help Lucas get a wife. Jessica glanced at me and lifted her chin arrogantly. $50,000 as a wedding fund paid directly to me. "So you need to give us an additional $10,000 as startup capital for us to do some small business. Also, I heard that the sister-in-law's bank card has always been with Auntie. Since I am marrying into the family, I should be in charge of this household. The sister-in-law's salary card should be managed by me from now on. With each sentence Jessica spoke, my expression grew colder. But she didn't care at all. Agree to these conditions and I'll consent to marry into your Park family. As soon as she finished speaking, Lucas nodded eagerly. Okay, we agree. Jessica left satisfied. I immediately ordered the other three to leave. All right, the show is over, now get out. But the three of them didn't move, and only then did I notice the luggage in the corner. Elle, you heard your future sister-in-law's demands. You need to figure something out. My father resumed his usual stern demeanor. What does this have to do with me? I never agreed to anything. I interrupted directly and my mother tried to persuade me again. Elle, your father and I are just ordinary workers. Where would we get that much money? You are the only successful one in our family. You have to find a way to help Lucas get married. I laughed coldly. Haven't you drained all my savings over the years? Where would I get extra money? It is not that he can't find work. It is that he is lazy. If he wants to get married, let him earn the money himself. Immediately, my father's face darkened again. Elle, are you determined to make this family miserable? No money. If you don't have money, can't you figure out a way to get it? Don't forget, everything you have today is thanks to your mother and me. Hearing my father's shameless words, I laughed mockingly. When I was little, you always said Lucas needed to be pampered, so I did all the housework, washing and cooking, while he just sat and watched television. You saved all the good food for him. I went hungry and fainted, but you made me eat leftovers. When I got into college, you said the money should be kept for him, and made me pay my own tuition and living expenses. I survived on work-study programs and scholarships, but you still forced me to send $1,000 home every month. Is this your contribution? I spoke each word calmly and evenly, and the family's faces grew increasingly ugly. Why are you bringing up all this old stuff? Isn't that all in the past? My parents remained silent, and Lucas spoke up. Besides, daughters are just money losers anyway. You'll get married and leave eventually, so shouldn't the money be kept for me? Look around and see if there is any family where the sister doesn't help her brother. You are the only one who turns against your own family. I looked coldly at the family in front of me and finally gave up arguing. I have no relationship with you anymore. Get out of my house. My father angrily threw his teacup to the floor. Elle, what kind of attitude is that? I am telling you Lucas's wedding money must be ready within 3 days, or we're not leaving. Looking at this unreasonable group of people, I lost all patience. Anyway, in 3 days I would be leaving the country. Fine, if you won't leave, I will. With that, I packed up all my belongings and left without looking back. Early the next morning, I received several spending notifications. Luxury store purchase $3,000. Seafood restaurant $800. Jewelry store $1,000. I opened social media to find pictures of Lucas taking Jessica out for expensive meals and shopping. I immediately asked a colleague in the finance department to help me get a new bank card. I also changed all my bank card passwords and payment passwords. After finishing everything, I breathed a sigh of relief. The next second, Lucas called. As soon as I answered, his frantic voice came through. Elle, what do you mean? Why can't I use your card anymore? Are you trying to hide money from us? I am telling you, transfer money to me right now. I am getting married soon, and I need money everywhere. Can't you think about me for once? I didn't bother to waste words and hung up directly, blocking him. Soon after, a friend sent me a screenshot from Lucas's social media with the caption, "New house acquired, thanks to my future brother-in-law's generous support." Unlike some people, the image showed John's transfer of $80,000 to him, along with a photo of a new house. That $80,000 was the wedding fund John had prepared for our marriage, and Lucas had taken it. I was instantly trembling with rage. I called John immediately and unleashed my fury without explanation. "Joan, are you an idiot? We're not even together anymore. So why did you stupidly give him the wedding money? Don't you know they're wolves that can never be satisfied?" I originally didn't want to give it either, but Lucas said, if I didn't give it they would go make trouble at your company. I was worried about you. Tears streamed down my face and my voice choked. "Joan, do you know, your $80,000 was used by my parents to buy Lucas a house. My $30,000 year-end bonus, which I had planned to use for our wedding, was also taken by them and used to buy Lucas a car. They said that the older brother is the family heir and a daughter, as a money-losing investment, has only one value: to support her brother. I really don't want to live like this anymore." After a pause, I continued, "Joan, I am leaving the country tomorrow, and I am not afraid of them making trouble at my company. I just hope you'll completely cut ties with them." The breathing on the other end hitched, and then he spoke slowly. "If we got married and had our own family, wouldn't we be free from their influence?" Hearing John's hopeful words, I shook my head with a bitter smile. "Joan, don't you understand? Only by completely leaving, by making it impossible for them to find me, can I escape them. Otherwise, for my entire life, anyone connected to me will be entangled by them. Joan, I can't drag you down. I am begging you, completely cut ties with me and my family, or I'll feel guilty for the rest of my life." I finally couldn't hold back my tears. After a long while, I finally heard John speak slowly. "All right, I promise you." I finally calmed all my emotions. I received another call from my mother. "Tomorrow we're going to propose marriage for Lucas. Take the day off and come with us. Remember to have all the money ready. Whether Lucas can get married depends on you. We can't have any problems." Tomorrow was the day I was leaving the country. I gripped my phone tightly, my voice calm. "No money, no time." Immediately my father's roaring came through the phone. "I am telling you, if you dare not show up with money tomorrow, we'll go make trouble at your company. Since you are so ungrateful, we might as well let everyone see what kind of person you really are." Lucas's voice also came through. I am telling you, if I can't get married, you can forget about getting married too. Just wait to be an old maid. You are just a money-losing investment, and I am the heir of the Park family. If you cut off our family line, the Park family ancestors won't let you go." I laughed coldly. "I don't care." With that, I hung up directly. Soon after, my phone was bombarded with calls and messages from the family. I simply deleted them all and added them to my blacklist. Early the next morning, I boarded a flight to Australia with my luggage. Having waited in vain for me, the Park family did exactly as they had threatened and showed up at my company with banners, making a scene and crying. Stone, you heartless girl, now that you have money, you don't acknowledge your parents and brother anymore. Everyone judge for yourselves, what kind of daughter is so unfilial?" My father Donald was shouting sadly through a megaphone. My mother Susan was crying beside him, and Lucas had even sat himself down in a wheelchair. During rush hour, with people coming and going, everyone's attention was drawn to this scene. Before long, the receptionist who had gotten word hurried over to the group. "Uncle and Aunt, you've got the wrong place. Elle has already processed her resignation and left the country." "What, left the country? Who gave her permission to leave the country?" Donald looked incredulous. Susan's crying stopped abruptly, and Lucas was so shocked he stood up from his chair. "When did this happen? How do we not know about this?" The receptionist was a colleague I knew well who had long been aware of my family situation, and she responded coldly, "I don't know. Where she goes doesn't require anyone's permission." But I should warn you, if you continue making trouble, we'll have to call the police. With that, the receptionist turned and walked away. The group panicked completely. Dad, what do we do? If she is gone, who is going to pay for my wedding? What if Jessica doesn't want to marry me? What will I do? Lucas was sweating with anxiety. Don't panic. No matter where your sister goes, we can find her and bring her back. She has to take care of your situation. Don't worry, she is probably just hiding at her boyfriend's house. Let's go catch her and bring her back right now. With that, the group called up relatives and went to John's house. John happened to be on vacation, having breakfast with his parents, when suddenly there was a commotion outside the door. Give us back our daughter. Elle Stone, come out here. Don't think that having a boyfriend's family means you can disown your birth family. Joan's parents were retired teachers who had always cared about their reputation. At this moment, the neighbors pointing and whispering made the elderly couple extremely angry. Joan, didn't I tell you from the beginning that Elle is a good girl, but her family are vampires. They have to suck her dry. I am telling you, if you marry her, you are cutting ties with your father and me. We don't want to be bothered by such people in our old age. Jean put down his coffee cup and spoke slowly. Elle broke up with me. She said she didn't want to drag me down. She worked hard for a whole year and finally got a $30,000 year-end bonus to prepare for our wedding. But her parents took it and used it to buy her brother a car. They said that the older brother is the family heir and a daughter, as a money-losing investment, has only one value: to support her brother. Joan's mother was stunned when she heard this. She left the country. She said she hoped I would never have anything to do with her family again. Dad, Mom, don't worry, I'll handle this properly. John opened the door and walked out. Seeing the crowd outside, John remembered when the Park family parents had come to the university during college to force Elle to send $1,000 home every month. That is when he had been attracted to the beautiful, strong, and resilient Elle. He had never seen such a determined girl. Determined to study hard, get first place, and earn scholarships. Determined to work and make money. She just couldn't bear to be good to herself. It wasn't until he saw her family that he finally understood why she was so determined. He also finally understood why she had to leave the country. Joan, where is my sister? Is she hiding in your house? Get her out here quickly. The group saw him as their hope. So hurry up and get her out here to gather the wedding money for me. Donald also chimed in. That is right. John Lucas finally has a chance to get married, and we can't let this fall through. How about you give us the wedding money first? We're going to be family soon anyway, and Lucas will be your brother-in-law. Jon looked at this family and laughed mockingly. Once he had wanted to rescue Elle, but now he should thank her for her rational clarity. I've broken up with Elle, and I have no idea where she went. As soon as he finished speaking, the people present looked at each other in confusion. Impossible. You were about to marry her. How could you not know? Did you two plan this together to hide from us? The group continued to make unreasonable demands, and John's face turned completely cold. Elle and I have broken up. We have absolutely no relationship anymore. If you continue making trouble and coming to harass our family, I'll call the police immediately. A look of unwillingness flashed in everyone's eyes, and John continued. When we get to the police station, I'll ask them to help me get back the $80,000 in wedding money. Hearing about returning the wedding money, Donald panicked. Go ask Elle for that $80,000 in wedding money. It has nothing to do with us. They hurriedly left. Only then did John take out his phone and send a message. They're looking for you. Stay safe. I received John's text just as I got off the plane. Before leaving, I had specifically asked a company colleague that if my family came looking, they should say I had resigned and left the country. Unable to find me, they would definitely go to John's house, so I had asked John to go back ahead of time to prevent them from hurting John's parents. I saw John's photos. The group's backs all revealed anger at not finding me. I quickly replied to John's message. I understand, thank you. After leaving the country, I changed my phone number, and very few people knew it. I felt a bit timid but also felt an unprecedented freedom. Dad, Mom, what do we do? What if Elle really left and doesn't care about our family anymore? Back home, Lucas couldn't help but sigh. I don't want to go back to the old countryside. The three family members were silent, although they wouldn't say it out loud. They all knew in their hearts that the entire Park family depended on Elle. Lucas was lazy and good for nothing. Donald and Susan were getting old, and for all these years, the three of them had lived comfortably off Elle's bank card. Suddenly, with Elle, this money tree gone, the family all felt a sense of panic. We can't let her live well by herself. Tomorrow, I am going to the police station to report this. I don't believe there is anyone the police can't find. Donald spoke hatefully. For so many years he had grown accustomed to Elle's submission. Her sudden disappearance had completely thrown him into disarray. But Donald's plans fell through once again. I am sorry, according to our records, your daughter is an adult with full civil capacity, and this is a voluntary disappearance. We have no authority to use police resources to track her down. The officer's words obviously cut off the family's last hope. How can this be, old man? Do you think our daughter really doesn't want us anymore? Susan finally couldn't hold back her tears. She was all too aware that if her daughter left, her son would never take care of them in their old age. Donald was red-faced with anger. If I had known she was so heartless, I should have watched her every step of the way. I should have waited until Lucas got married before letting her go. Donald still felt no remorse. His mind was full of anger about Lucas's ruined marriage prospects. The group returned home dejectedly. Unexpectedly, when they reached the door, they saw a group of people throwing things outside. What are you doing? This is our home. Who gave you permission to break in? The landlord looked coldly at the group. The lease expired, and I am taking back the property. What is wrong with that? The three were stunned, then began throwing tantrums again. Nonsense, this is my daughter's house. How could it be yours? You are just bullying people. Come see, they're bullying disabled people. Unfortunately, the landlord had seen this type of person before and wasn't afraid at all. As more and more neighbors gathered to watch the excitement, the landlord stood in the doorway, coldly watching the group's performance. When the cleaning crew had thrown out the last item, she finally spoke. Your daughter. Do you treat Elle as a daughter or an ATM? You know the answer yourselves. Before Elle left, she had already told the landlord everything. The landlord had always had a good relationship with Elle. So naturally she was furious after learning everything. You treat your useless son like a treasure while exploiting your own daughter. Taking your daughter's wedding money to buy your son a house and car. Even firmly controlling your daughter's bank card. The three of you wanted to suck every drop of blood from her body. What parents treat their own daughter like this? Hearing this, the crowd began to murmur. What era is this? Still playing the favoritism toward son's game. Making the capable daughter support the useless son. Are they really related? This girl is too pitiful. If it were me, I'd disappear too. The crowds pointing and whispering left the group unable to lift their heads. But Susan still remained defiant. That is our family business. What does it have to do with you? When did it become an outsider's turn to point fingers? Hearing this, the landlord laughed coldly. Of course it has nothing to do with me. But if you continue making trouble, don't blame me for calling the police. With that, the landlord slammed the door shut, completely shutting out the group. Mom, it is all your fault. If you hadn't told Elle ahead of time that we spent her wedding money to buy me a car, how could she have gotten angry and left? What do we do now? Father and son looked at Susan accusingly, and Susan didn't dare fight back. Just then Jessica called. "Lucas, is your family deliberately playing me for a fool?" Lucas immediately switched to a pleasing tone. "Jessica, our family is busy preparing the wedding money. Don't worry, in a couple of days when the money comes in, I'll bring it to your house to propose." After hanging up, Lucas immediately looked at his parents with blame. "Dad, Mom, what do we do now? It is because of you two. If you can't arrange a job for me, fine. But I finally have a chance to get married and you didn't even prepare the wedding money for me." Susan and Donald kept their heads down. After a while, they heard Lucas speak. "How about we sell my car first? The remaining money should be enough for the wedding. I know you've been saving Elle's salary all these years. This time, just take it out and pay for the wedding." Hearing this, the elderly couple's faces went white. That money was their nest egg. Seeing that they wouldn't agree, Lucas flew into a rage. "Which family doesn't have parents pay for their son's wedding? I am used to being lazy, and if you don't help me, how can I get married? I am telling you now that Elle is gone. Aren't you counting on me for your retirement? If you don't give me money to get married now, don't expect me to take care of you later." Seeing their son angry, Susan became frightened. "Old man, let's take out the money. After our son gets married, we'll continue looking for Elle. We'll find her eventually, then she'll give us money." Finally, Donald nodded. The elderly couple took out all their savings. Lucas got married soon after. When John told me this news, I had already settled in Australia. The day after arriving in Australia, I immediately rented a studio apartment. I threw myself wholeheartedly into work. Without the Park family's interference, my life became much more peaceful. To pay back John as soon as possible, I became the company's workaholic, working early and late, day and night. A month later, my salary came in 3 times what I had earned back home. Looking at the numbers in my account balance, I finally smiled with relief. I transferred $5,000 to John and saved the rest. If I continued at this pace, I could own my own little house in Australia within a year. Thinking of this, I became even more motivated to work. However, before long, I received a call from a colleague back home. "Elle, do you know? Your parents couldn't find you, so they actually went on media to publicly search for you. Several waves of media reporters called the company asking for your whereabouts and contact information. Your parents cried on national television, saying the whole family worked hard to put you through college, but then you ran off to enjoy life abroad alone. Now people online are calling you ungrateful." I chuckled. "It doesn't matter. I am abroad now anyway, and they can't get to me. Besides, lies will eventually be exposed, and when that happens, their lives will be worse than they are now." I opened social media. The elderly couple had harvested quite a bit of sympathy from this wave of playing the victim. Lucas and his wife Jessica took the opportunity to start live streaming sales. Whenever their viewership or sales were poor, the group would start crying about me, the unfilial daughter, in their live stream. During that time, I often received calls from domestic numbers. I blocked them all, unfortunately. Their good fortune didn't last long, and their lies were exposed. Many buyers online complained about poor product quality, especially some food items that gave people diarrhea. But Lucas, who was riding high, completely ignored them, even angrily cursing at viewers in his live stream, along with Jessica. Many anonymous netizens began exposing the disgusting things this family had done to me. Surely no one believes what they're saying. If they had shown their own daughter even a shred of kindness, she probably wouldn't have disappeared. This family has no conscience to begin with. I was Elle's college classmate, and her parents never gave her a penny for college. Elle worked part-time whenever she had time, eating bread every day to save money, and even fainted from malnutrition several times. But her parents never felt sorry for her. They even came to the school demanding that Elle send them $1,000 every month for living expenses. They're literally vampires. Netizens even posted videos of the family coming to school to demand money from me. Following this, my colleagues also began supporting me. Not only that, after Elle started working, her parents forcibly took away her bank card, saying daughters are money-losing investments and should support the whole family. Elle originally had a boyfriend and was about to get married, but her parents took Elle's $30,000 dowry and used it to buy their son a car, and even used the wedding money from the boyfriend's family to buy their son a house. They also warned Elle that if her brother didn't get married, she shouldn't think about getting married. Elle was pushed to the breaking point and had no choice but to break up with her boyfriend and flee abroad to escape the whole family. For a time, online opinion reversed. Many people cursed the Park family until they couldn't show their faces. Lucas lost it again and spouted off in his livestream. She is my sister, and if she is capable of helping me, what is wrong with that? My parents gave birth to her to take care of me. She makes a lot of money, so what is wrong with spending it on me? Seeing that Lucas showed no remorse, netizen comments became even sharper. It is not that you can't help. It is that you are lazy and treat your sister like an ATM. Don't make excuses. No wonder Elle is hiding and won't come out. With family like this, I'd want to hide as far away as possible too. What kind of search for relatives? I think they're searching for their former blood bank. How shameless. Eventually, Lucas's live stream was permanently banned, and the group became pariahs, pointed at wherever they went. After losing my financial support, Lucas and Jessica fought every day. Donald and Susan were also despised. The whole household was in chaos until Jessica got pregnant, and things finally calmed down. But before long, Donald and Susan were kicked out by Lucas. I am not feeling well and can't do much. You and Mum are just old, but otherwise healthy. You can go work construction, and Mum can be a nanny. My son will cost a lot of money in the future. Remember to transfer your monthly wages to me to save. The two elderly people regretted their choices but had nowhere to go, so they had to comply. At this time, I was sunbathing on a beach in Melbourne. After transferring the last payment to John, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. The boulder that had been weighing on my heart finally lifted, leaving only a bright future ahead. I began planning my new life, working hard to save money, moving toward my own little house. Before long, John sent news. Donald had accidentally fallen from scaffolding while working at a construction site and was unconscious. When Lucas learned of this, he didn't care about his father's life or death at all. He just took people to the construction site to demand compensation. After getting the money, he immediately disappeared with Jessica, leaving Donald to fend for himself in the hospital. They said Donald regained consciousness a few times, repeatedly muttering my name and whispering, "Elle, I am sorry. I am sorry." John asked if I wanted to return to see him one last time. I refused. When parents are not kind, children are not obligated to be filial. Years of harm had carved deep into my bones, and that belated apology couldn't make up for anything. I would rather have never had such parents than be entangled with this family for even a moment longer. The sea breeze of Australia brushed across my face, warm and free. I knew that my new life was just beginning.